everybody, and welcome to the Coaster Kingdom. Today, I'm going to be giving you my ranking of every operating roller coaster at Six Flags Over Georgia. Currently, Over Georgia has 11 operating coasters, and I'm going to be ranking them all from worst to best. Just remember that this is my opinion, so if you don't like my opinion, then please comment down below what you would change. So let's just hop into it. At number 11 is the Dahlonega Mine Train. This opened back in 1967 with the park. The ride was built by Arrow. For a ride that was built back in 1967, it's still an enjoyable ride to this day. I make sure to ride this ride every time I go to Over Georgia. The ride contains 2,327 feet of track, has a max height of 37 feet, only hits a max speed of about 29 miles per hour, which definitely isn't bad, and it's about a 3-minute long ride. Definitely a good ride if you get in roller coasters. Definitely a good ride to start with. At number 10 is Georgia Scorcher. I rank this ride really low just because I'm short and stand-up coasters are not nice to me, if you know what I mean.
Am I gonna do it? Yes. When am I gonna do it? Don't know. Could be tomorrow.
But this ride opened back in 1999 by B&M. It's one of their stand-up coasters, as I said. Contains about 3,000 feet of track, max height of 170 feet. Although the drop is only 101 feet, and it only hits a max speed of about 54 miles per hour. It only contains 2 inversions. The ride only lasts for about a minute and a half, so that painful experience that you get if you're short is a short ride. So even if you want to get the credit, I mean, I'm not against getting the credit. I mean, that it's a good ride to ride every now and then, but I don't make it like a mission to ride it every time I go to this park. Number 9 is the Joker Funhouse Coaster. This ride opened back up in 2004, and it is a Chance Rides Big Dipper, which is basically just a family model, and it is, yes, I do prefer this over the Georgia Scorcher just because it's actually a really good family coaster for what it is. When it opened, it was actually the Wile E. Coyote Canyon Blaster, but in 2015, well, actually in 2016, the area had a makeover and was changed into a DC section. This ride contains about 900 feet of track and hits a top speed of 30 miles per hour. It's a family coaster, so of course you get no inversions on that. Sad though, wish you kind of did, because this ride is a great ride. Although I don't ride this ride every time I go to this park, it is definitely a good ride to ride. Again, if you're a kid wanting to get into roller coasters, it's definitely a good ride. At number 8 is Blue Hawk, and Blue Hawk is a Vekoma Looper. The correct model name is an MK 1200, and it's basically just a looper, and it can get you never get any bad wait times on this ride. I've heard some people say that this ride was a very, very uncomfortable ride to ride when it was Ninja from 1992 all the way until 2015, and in 2016 they gave it a makeover, added some vest restraints instead of the bulky over the shoulder restraints, and apparently it's a better ride now, although I don't see how. I mean, it's a good ride, no doubt, but still, I try to ride it every time I go, but it's a ride that you can't ride many times. The stats on this ride is it contains 2,700 feet of track with a max height of 122 feet and only hits a max speed of 52 miles per hour. It has the most inversions of any ride in the park though, with 5 inversions. And it contains one of the only butterfly elements in the world, which it's a cool experience to experience that if you haven't before. But yeah, you could skip this ride if you already have it as a credit. On to number 7, which is the Great American Scream Machine. This ride opened back up in 1973, just celebrated its 50-year anniversary, so this ride is old, and age has not really done this ride well. It was manufactured by PTC, and you know, as most PTC roller coasters, it's an out and back layout. It's a good ride to ride. It was my first thrill coaster, so it's nostalgic to me for that reason. Contains about 3,500 feet of track with a max height of 105 feet. Only a drop of 89 feet. Only hits a max speed about 57 miles per hour. So definitely a stepping stone ride for a kid wanting to ride coasters more and more. The ride has a beautiful setting over the lake. It is very nice. This ride used to be super rough, but in 2022 they came in, overhauled it, gave it some new track, and it was better for the 22 season. But then when I rode it again in 23, kind of felt like it had gone back to its old ways. So yeah, this ride is definitely a good ride to ride once and then maybe never again. I don't know, it depends what your ride was on it, but it's a good ride. Definitely suggest it. We move on to number 6. We have the Riddler Mindbender, which opened back in 1978. This ride used to be a top 10 coaster for me, but I currently have it sitting at number 16 now on my list, as this ride used to be very forceful, as most Schwarzkopfs are, but yeah, they came in, redid it, gave it new trains, and now it's kind of a forceless experience. Although it's not a bad ride, I definitely try to ride it every time I go, but then again, I try to ride everything when I go to this park, unless it's a ride like Blue Hawk or Georgia Scorcher. But yeah, the stats on this ride are, it contains 3,250 feet of track, max height of 80 feet, so it is not a tall coaster, but it is really just known for its dips and turns and its in the used to be forceful loops. It only hits a max speed of 50 miles per hour and hits 2 inversions. The ride only lasts about 2.5 minutes, so it's definitely a short ride compared to some of the other rides in this park. As we move on to number 5, at number 5 I have Superman Ultimate Flight. From what I know, fact check me on this, but this was the first B&M Flyer in America, and it opened back in 2002, back when the park was getting, a good thrill ride every couple years, but now Overgeorge is not getting a lot of love from Six Flags.
Your reward will be great. Behold! Whoopsie. Now behold.
Stats on the ride: it contains 2,700 feet of track, almost 2,800 feet of track. Has a max height of 106 feet. The drop is only 100 feet though, and it hits 51 miles per hour in a 2-minute long experience. You go through 2 inversions, and the pretzel loop is one of the craziest elements in the world. I know you can get these on other B&M Flyers, but this ride just especially is amazing because this was the original Superman clone, so it has a lot. So it's built as a terrain coaster, unlike the other ones you see at Great Adventure and other Six Flags parks. Definitely a good ride though. This is a ride that you definitely need to ride when you get to this park. Number 4 is Batman the Ride, and I would say there's nothing special about this Batman clone, but I would be 100% wrong. This ride opened back in 1997, and I've heard people say that this is their favorite Batman clone, as it is a very forceful ride, and I can understand that completely. I actually have a whole other review coming out on this ride soon that I might post, so I won't get into it too much. I'll just kind of give you the stats on it. Like I said, it was a B&M Batman clone, and it contains 2,700 feet of track, 105 feet is the max height of the lift hill. Only hits 50 miles per hour, which definitely feels faster in a compact layout like this. Contains 5 inversions through a 2-minute experience, and the G-force level, according to RCDB, is 4. That is insane for this ride. And yeah, this is probably the best Batman clone out there, and for a reason. It is an amazing coaster. Number 3 is Twisted Cyclone, and I know what you may be thinking, how do I rank this at number 3? And most likely, well, yeah, you may be right. This ride definitely deserves a top 2 for most people. I love this ride so much, but I have 2 other rides above it. And Twisted Cyclone is definitely a ride that I do suggest that you do. It can get some wait time since it's at the front of the park, so you could do it first, but definitely come back later in the day and do this. And during Halloween, their Halloween park special, I think, they are open late, so you get night rides on this ride, and it is an incredible night ride. You just have to get a night ride on this ride. It's insane. Definitely back row is what I suggest for this ride. The front row is good, but the back row, you just get whipped over all the elements, and it's an insane feeling. The stats on this ride: it contains 2,400 feet of track, with a max height of 100 feet, so it's a small RMC. And it only hits 50 miles per hour, and hits 3 inversions through that course. This ride is definitely the ride overhauled the former Georgia Cyclone that was at this park years ago, but they came in, RMC'd it, and I definitely prefer Twisted Cyclone to Georgia Cyclone. If you ever got the experience to, or if you ever got the chance to ride Georgia Cyclone, you're definitely not missing much. You can get better rides on the Cyclone at Luna Park. It's basically a clone, is all it was. At number 2 is Daredevil Dive, and this is a Gerstlauer Eurofighter. It was the 3rd one in America, opened back in 2011. This was the last new ride from the ground up that the park built, that Six Flags built for this park. And I know you may be thinking, how do I rank this above Twisted Cyclone? And I don't really have a reason to rank this above Twisted Cyclone, just for the fact I'm a sucker for the vertical lift, and I really do love the Beyond Vertical Drop, and some of the elements that this ride hits is just really cool. Stats on the ride: it hits 2,100 feet of track with a 95-foot drop, and that's a 95-foot vertical drop, by the way, and it hits 52 miles per hour, so it's a little bit faster than Twisted Cyclone, although it doesn't feel like it. It is apparently from the stats. And it hits 3 inversions through its course, so in a way it's kind of like Twisted Cyclone in ways, except for this ride goes beyond vertical and has a vertical lift hill. And of course at number 1 is Goliath. And if this was even a question, I mean, this is the best ride in the park by a long shot. I currently have this ride ranked at number 2 on my all-time list, and there's a good reason for it. This ride is just insane. Like most B&M hypers nowadays, apparently. I haven't rode any of them, but I heard that most of them you get graceful floater airtime. But no, on this ride, every hill is ejector, and you will definitely pass out on this ride if you ride it multiple times. I remember me and my friends rode it, or just me actually. This was just me when I went, but I remember riding it 7 times in one day, and that was an incredible day. To ride this ride. I definitely passed out on one of the rides that we got. Stats on the ride: it contains 4,500 feet of track with a height. This is a hyper coaster, but weirdly enough, its drop is only 175 feet. The height of this ride is 200 feet, so it clarifies as a hyper, but the drop is only 175 feet. The max speed is about 70 miles per hour, so this is a fast ride. It contains some punches when you hit this ride. The Helix is definitely the part that you gotta be ready for. If you're not ready for the Helix, you might be in some trouble. It's an incredible ride. It really is. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Comment down below if you agreed with my list or if you disagreed with my list. Again, this was just my opinion, so if you didn't like my opinion, then okay, nothing I can really do about that. But if you did like the video, consider subscribing, press that like button, and turn on notification bells for more uploads. I'm planning to upload weekly. If that happens, I don't know. I'm not super good at posting on a daily schedule when it comes to other channels, so I don't know. We'll see how this video does, and then maybe I'll post more from that. And thank you guys for joining me on this adventure. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.